Borderlands 4 is dead. 90% player drop, almost below 60% approval rating on Steam, and Randy Pitchford is absolutely losing it. I don't know about you, but I'm personally absolutely loving this situation.
So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Randy Pitchford. And yes, we're going to be talking about Borderlands 4. And the reason why is because, well, we need to do a little bit of a victory dance. We have to have a little bit of a laugh at the expense of some of the wild stuff that Randy Pitchford has decided to say when it comes to Borderlands 4. Now, the beautiful thing about
the best part about Borderlands 4 probably is Randy's meltdowns. It's absolutely legendary because he is simply a person who cannot contain himself. He is incapable of, just not going ballistic nuclear when something is going wrong. And that was my favorite part. The fact that Randy does not just randomly spaz out, go on Twitter crusades. Oh no, I mean, Randy would never go on a crusade. That's very bad and not ally, obviously. He goes on Twitter spazzes, and man, whenever he goes, it's so telling. We knew Borderlands 4 was a failure pretty much day 3, and Randy just proved it. Oh, it's such a great thing to happen.
Borderlands 4 is that he tried to convince all of you that the game is a premium game for premium gamers. When you guys told him you were having performance issues, he gaslit you and told you that it was your problem. That the reason why you're having issues is because you, the PC gamer, don't know how to set up your PC. Doesn't matter how long you've been PC gaming, doesn't matter.
Time travelers from 2050 came back to just post comments that even their PCs can't run Borderlands 4. By the way, I'm pretty sure the issues are still happening, and it's literally been a month, and they're still happening. We haven't even gotten to the fact that the endgame in Borderlands 4 that doesn't exist. It just brutally doesn't exist. There is only a Vogue journey of slop, and after that journey of slop, there's no endgame. There's nothing to do.
No matter how long you've had your PC for, you guys don't know what you're doing, and Randy Pitchford is going to be here to help you. Now, everybody remembers that meltdown that he had on X and on Twitter and all that glorious stuff. But apparently, Randy Pitchford is now coping because in a recent post, he decided to say that he's actually happy that he lives in a world where Borderlands 4 complaints aren't about how we fucked up the story after all. Now, the funny thing is that
Randy's pretending that he didn't watch my videos because the Borderlands 4 story is arguably worse than 3. Now I know that's a high bar for a lot of people, but Borderlands 3 at least had a villain. Borderlands 4 doesn't have a villain. The Timekeeper does nothing. He's like a side character in his own story. You don't know what he's about. You don't know why he's doing things. You have no idea. The guy can. I will remind everyone. The guy can literally mind control everyone and anyone on the planet, and he doesn't. he doesn't. He just doesn't. It's like one of the stupidest, lamest villains ever. I have a feeling the Borderlands writers were like, okay, we need someone who's really bad in controlling the population, but we can't. But we need to make it more than just through violence, right? Let's make it special. And so they decided that it's going to be through mind control that doesn't work 99% of the time. Oh my god, what genius choices, I say.
Last I checked, at least on Twitter and X or whatever, nobody's talking about the story. Anybody that's talking about Borderlands 4, I haven't seen anybody talking about the story. I've seen everybody talking about the performance. If you want to know how little people are talking about the story, just go over to the Steam forums. You can clearly see that people are not talking about the story.
Based. People are understanding.
The first thread that I see is Borderlands 4 is probably the worst Borderlands. Borderlands 4 sold as half as many copies as Borderlands 3, which, by the way, I've said that many times in videos before. Looks like I was correct, and we're going to get into that in a second. This game will never escape the mixed review score. Why are the field boss arenas so small? The 200 plus hours in it, the game is not worth it. Now, here's the best thing about all of this that I really wanted to showcase in this video. If you guys remember, Randy Pitchford, during his entire coping session before the game came out, he tried to convince everybody the game was so premium that there's no way the game was ever going to be put on sale anywhere near as fast as the previous Borderlands games were, right? Because
Oh, true. I completely forgot about that one. But boys, you know what I did not forget about? Like the video right now, or hype it up if you're on a mobile device. It takes less than a second, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for all of you who do it. It truly means a lot, and it helps out a lot, and it matters. So thank you. And if you think that this stuff that we are talking about is important and more people should know about, then definitely like the video right now and hype it up on a mobile device. And thank you for doing it. Takes less than a second, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Borderlands has a reputation of going on sale very quickly and going on sale for a lot of money off, right? So everybody knows like you shouldn't really buy a Borderlands game day one because you could buy it much cheaper a month or two down the line, right? However, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching this video, I have the glorious news to showcase to you that we were right and Randy Pitchford was wrong. The game has sold so minimal in comparison to Borderlands 3 that the company has decided that, you know what? It's time to put this game on sale, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the game Borderlands 4, as of the filming of this video,
And there's probably gonna be at least a 40% discount on it Christmas. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a 60 or 70% discount on Christmas.
is officially 20% off from $69.99 to
Nice.
$55.99. And it is 20% off all across the board. So the original edition, the deluxe edition, and the super deluxe edition. The game is 20% off. And
It feels so wrong to call a trash pile like Borderlands 4 Super Deluxe Edition. It's insane.
this is just hilarious. Now, keep in mind, guys, this game did not come out that long ago. Okay. This game released on September 11th of 2025. That means that in about a month's time, the game has went to 20% off within 1 month's time. That has
Insane.
got to be a damn near record at this point. They are speed running this at this point. I will
And again, keep in mind, this was with giving away free copies, free keys to people.
bet money right now that during the holiday season, Borderlands 4 will most likely be 50% off or less. It'll probably be anywhere between the current 20% all the way to 50% off during the holiday season because they have to catch up.
It's the discount is going to be bigger. You know why? Because if you look at the graph, if you look at the Borderlands 4 graph right here, when did the discount start? I don't know, somewhere around here. I think this because this is a slight lower decline than previously. So it could have maybe no. That actually cannot be true. It started prior. It probably started here. So in any case, if we look at this, it is where is it? Where are the players that wanted to start playing Borderlands because of the discount? It doesn't exist. That means that this failed. This was their Hail Mary attempt to get people into Borderlands 4, and it failed because people didn't want to play it. They're gonna have to do a way larger discount for this. And maybe it's because they are actually paying attention to what people are saying online, because there's no way that Gearbox isn't, right? They have to be like checking out the videos, checking out the feedback in some way, right? And one of the most popular comments that I'm getting about Borderlands 4, by the way, which I agree with you boys, is I'm gonna buy Borderlands 4 when it's 80% off. 90% off. I'll buy it after 1 or 2 years for $3. That is a super prevalent type of comment on my videos. I see it constantly. And by the way, I agree. If they do a 80% discount for Christmas, I'll buy it. And if they don't do an 80% discount by Christmas, there's a chance I'll forget it and not buy it in general. I looked at their battle pass. It's absolute slop, and it's absolutely just forcing you to become a payer, which is bad.
To the numbers, right? Borderlands 3, unfortunately, is getting was so much more successful than Borderlands 4. They can't keep up. Now, even though the concurrent number is higher with Borderlands 4 than it was with Borderlands 3, it doesn't mean that the sales are higher. This game has sold an estimated about 1 to 2 million copies on Steam. Borderlands.
And by the way, you know what's the most craziest thing about these companies doing battle passes and things like that, like Borderlands? It's the fact that they are nickel and diming you. And I mean, a company can nickel and dime you, and that's not a problem. You look at Lost Ark, for example. Lost Ark is my favorite example for this because it's absolutely brilliant. Lost Ark has its problems, but none of the problems are with monetization. They're with other things. Some of them slightly surround monetization issues, but most of them are just, about raiding, taking too much time, homework. Like, literally, Lost Ark has a term, homework, for how the gameplay is done. And I agree. But the average Lost Ark player is happy whenever Lost Ark publishes something new that they can give money to the studio for, because it's always value. Everything you buy in Lost Ark for money is pretty much always a good chunk of value. There are very few things that feel remotely predatory. But when we're talking about these Western games, everything honestly feels predatory in their microtransaction shops. Everything feels not valuable. It feels like they're forcing you to buy it, and it's not worth your time, money, or effort. And then you look at Lost Ark, where people are like, "Oh, new thing for $10. Buy. Because it's just value. It's good. And you like the company, you want to support it. Lost Ark may have different problems, but I mean, people want to actually give money to the company. Unlike Borderlands, like, if Lost Ark released something like the quality of Borderlands microtransactions, people would fucking riot.
Borderlands 3 did damn near double that in half the amount of time. Borderlands 4 is not catching up to nowhere near where Borderlands 3 did in terms of numbers, and that's because they don't have the popularity of Borderlands 2 to bolster their numbers like Borderlands 3 did. Now, when we go over to the Steam forums, I want to go over what some of the people are.
I just want the first expansion where the main objective is to establish a gay wedding because reasons. I'm sure that will save Borderlands 4.
Saying about the game. Let's click this one. Burning Shadow says Borderlands 4 is probably the worst Borderlands. It feels like the makers took everything out that was fun in Borderlands 3 and replaced it with something dull and boring. As a general game, as it is uninspired, mediocre open world game, as a Borderlands game, it is bad. Less loot, worse loot, less humor, less story. The map is smaller and seems dead. The villains start off interesting but turn boring after a while. Even the Calypso twins in Borderlands 3 had some level of motivation.
Yes, this is exactly my take. Sure, the Calypso twins were cringe, but at least they were the bad guys. No one has any idea why the Timekeeper is the bad guy. No one has no idea about anything, and he does nothing in the story. The Timekeeper literally does nothing in the story. Every part of the story, the 3 acts before you face the Timekeeper, undermine him as a villain. One is a complete moron who's simping for the Timekeeper and can do nothing wrong, and that's like one of his best guys. The second one is a strong, independent woman that don't need no man, and she just ripped out her mind control thing because obviously. And then she's creating problems for him and he can't deal with her. And the third one is a guy who literally betrays him, and the Timekeeper does nothing. In fact, without your intervention, that guy would have probably succeeded and the Timekeeper would have lost. I mean, there is no main villain. There is literally no main villain in Borderlands 4. There's no other way to put it.
And the open world kills pacing and makes the whole thing actually seem smaller and more samey than the previous titles, right? People are clearly not talking about the story, right? People, if you scroll here, a premium game for premium gamers on sale now. bug filled and boring. This is amazing, right? People
I had a call. I needed to take that.
remember everything that Randy Pitchford said, and it's because, well, Randy Pitchford loves to talk his nonsense, right? So again, if you scroll down, Borderlands 4 melted my PC and murdered my children. People are trolling them, right? The performance is still a problem. The performance, this thread is 5 minutes ago for someone complaining about getting FPS dips that go all the way to 9 to 15 FPS.
Yeah, at the rate that they're fixing problems and addressing issues, if Borderlands 4 ever becomes even a playable game, not worth to play, I mean literally just playable, it's gonna take like a year. It's gonna take a year for them to fix this. And maybe even longer because let's be real, they're concentrating on microtransactions, not actually fixing issues. Again, no one's even talking about the fact that the game is an unbalanced piece of shit. You have guns that you fire and they obstruct your vision so you can't use them. Sniper rifles included, by the way, which is hilarious. You have builds that don't work. You have perks that don't work. You have characters that literally out DPS other characters by a margin of fucking 10. It's not even close.
Right? High CPU temperatures. There's so many issues that are happening with this particular game. Borderlands 4 sold half as many copies as 3. I certainly would have bought it if it wasn't for the performance issues. Hopefully, the low sales numbers teach the developers that it's not okay. Now, I don't think it's going to teach them anything personally. I think that
Bro,
they're going to be very happy with the sales.
keep in mind, Gearbox is a company whose publisher is 2K Games. 2K Games has GTA money. So, I honestly think Randy could get fired for this because at this point it's like this was their super ultra hurrah. They put all they could into it, and it was a disaster, and Randy made it worse. I would not be surprised if Gearbox gets rid of Randy at this rate. Because there need to be consequences for failing this bad, and I think a very very likely consequence is Randy gets either shadow liquidated or he just straight up gets fired. Okay? Because there are people above Randy. And those people can tell Randy, okay, we're not going to fire you as the CEO of blah, 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 but you no longer make any decisions. You have no more say in this. You just keep getting a paycheck, and that's it. That could also be a situation that happens. Because there need to be consequences for this.
That they got. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to play the long haul, the long game. And like they always do with all the Borderlands games, they're going to put them on sale and hope that, they just start racking up copies sold little by little. Even if they got to put the game for sale on at $5, they're going to do it. They've done it before. They'll do it again. Now, in terms of Randy Pitchford, let's go back to what he was talking about here. So this article is from PC Gamer. It says Borderlands 4 has had some time to brew in the public conscious, and the general consensus, one that I agree with, is that the story is just fine. If anything, it's just a little bit too middle of the road. But given my key enjoyment of the game has a lot to do with the shooting and very little to do with the dialogue, I was happy to let inoffensive text warble in the background. Given what we've had before in Borderlands 3, it was still a big improvement. And even I found myself charmed by one or two character moments, not a terrible swerve from the outdated on-launch memes, all told. The folks at Gearbox are happy with the feedback. 2. Sam Winkler, the game's narrative lead, comments at the dev panel in PAX Australia 25 that it's been great. It's been really good. I'll be honest, I'm really happy with it. And hey, you know what? Winkler isn't wrong to feel that way. Now, I don't know why people would think that these developers would ever, I guess, speak out against their video game. Like, why would any developer openly admit that they're not happy with the game, that player community sentiment is overall negative about the game? Nobody's going to openly admit that, especially when they're on a panel, unless they're confronted by a question, directly, which usually they're not because they know exactly what they're going to be asked. I highly doubt that anybody would ever actually admit to that. Even when I'm at my most critical of video game stories, I try to appreciate that game development is an utter nightmare. Oh, so this is one of those like game development's hard, so you should just
Yeah. This is one of those. Oh, I'm a game developer. Are you a game developer? Well, you don't know how hard it is, so you don't get to say I'm bad at my job. Thank God we don't apply this stupid standard to medics or any other profession. Game developers are the only ones who are unironically actually privileged enough for this to be a legitimate thing. Oh, I'm a game developer. You don't know how hard my life is. I need to make choices every day. So do I. So does everyone else. You're not special. God, I hate these people. It's always programmers. It's always programmers trying to make themselves somehow special above everything else, okay? Programmers and artists. And you know what gaming is? It's programmers and artists, sadly. And writers, which is a smaller group of deficiency, but it's definitely a group of deficiency. In any case, that was Hypnotic. 10 out of 10. Have a nice day. Bye!